You're listening to Moon Monk. On this episode, we'll be discussing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, directed by James Gunn.
So we start off Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and the Guardians of the Galaxy are now pretty famous. They're being led by Star-Lord. They're doing some mercenary work for the Sovereign. They're protecting some batteries, some very, obviously, great batteries.
Yeah.
And they're fighting this massive kind of...
Alien.
Yeah, let's call him an alien.
Space walrus.
Let's call him an alien. The testicle monster, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. And they're protecting the batteries. They're pretty famous, as I say. Everybody knows them. They've saved the galaxy.
Yeah.
And
they steal... Rocket Raccoon steals the batteries. After they finish protecting the batteries, he steals the batteries, which leads to them being chased across space by the Sovereign and her ships. And eventually they run into Kurt Russell.
Just Kurt Russell.
Just Kurt Russell surfing through space.
It is essentially, they just run into various 80s actors along the way.
Who turns out to be Peter Quill's father.
Yeah.
Which you see that in the trailer, so it's not...
I will point out, in the movie, he is called Ego, and they don't refer to him as Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, basically it's about finding about Peter Quill's past, and just the past of the cast in general.
About fatherhood. People have said, like, how the first film's about his mother, and then this film's about, like, meeting his father. So, there is that.
Yeah, I think it's about all of them, though. Like, finding out about their family and their past and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of the main drive of the movie. And then when they get to Kurt Russell's planet, he's like the living planet, so he's actually a sort of god, and he's the living embodiment of this planet, and has supreme powers. Which Peter Quill, Star-Lord, also has.
Definite spoilers now.
Yeah, we're going to get into spoilers here, but it's been out a week and it's a
we'll put
gross
spoilers.
Tiley.
We'll put spoilers at the front, I think.
So yeah, the film, like, if you've seen the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a huge hit and a kind of unexpected hit because it's not as well known a franchise as some of the other Marvel characters. Especially now you've got like Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man. These are like a lesser known team, but the first one was a huge hit. And if you've seen the first film, this is like a lot of the same stuff, like the soundtrack, the jokes, the humour, the characters. They do develop the characters a little more, which I liked in this film than the first one. Because the first one, obviously, they had a lot of setup to get through. Whereas this time, you know the characters already, so you can jump straight into the action and kind of just enjoy it a little more. Less kind of exposition of who they are and like why they're there. I did like the opening sequence. Like, the opening sequence really gets you right into the kind of mood of this film. And you've got, like I say, great music. You've got Mr. Blue Skies, Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah.
The scene when they're fighting this giant alien. And also it was really fun because they have the sequence and it's just essentially Baby Groot dancing. Right? Like, you're not even watching them fighting. It's just him dancing and they're fighting in the background.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the style of the movie, like, tongue-in-cheek. I would say it takes itself a lot less seriously than most superhero films.
You just like you're saying, it's more about you learn about each character. You get a lot more interaction between Nebula and Gamora, who are sisters, and you had a little bit of that in the first one, but you've got more of that, and you learn more about why they have this, or why Nebula has this deep-seated hatred of her father.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
I like that backstory a lot because that was really quite emotional and quite horrific.
Yeah,
given that it's a comedy, like when you find out why she is, has that grudge. It's quite horrible.
There is a lot of comedy in Guardians of the Galaxy and Volume 2 as well, but there's also in this one you get more of the depth of the characters and their past and their relationships with each other and the group of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but also like with their families.
Like, I liked that you got kind of Rocket Raccoon's like neuroses and feelings of neglect and that, like,
because he was kind of on his own in this one, whereas in the first one he had his relationship with Groot and you had their interactions, but because it's Baby Groot now, it's just Rocket, and it's like, oh, why is Rocket?
You feel really sad for him. The
you
first
do,
one he's more comic relief, and this you're like, oh, actually he has quite a tragic backstory.
I don't think there's ever been a movie where I've felt so emotionally attached to a raccoon. Although there's another movie that I think has a raccoon starring in it, but. You get my point. It's like it is just a CGI raccoon, but it has such a good.
Yeah, like his backstory is tragic, but in the first one it's somewhat brushed over, whereas this one they really go into it. And his relationship with like Peter Quill and Peter and his father, And
also Yondu.
Gamora and her sister.
Yondu's story was really good.
Oh,
Cause first off, when I saw he was going to be in the second one, I was like, why are they going to put him in? He's just going to be another bad guy. He's not going to be the main bad guy, is he? I don't know.
Yeah.
But then it turns out he's got all this history with Peter Quill, and you knew like he abducted him in the first place, but you find out why he kept him. He's
quite a complex character from the first one as well, because he was a father figure to him, even though he's like a space pirate.
Yeah, but in this one, you get more of that sense of it, and it really hammers it home.
Yeah,
in a lot of scenes.
You also have Sylvester Stallone as one of the other Reavers,
just chucked in there. I didn't mind.
One of the things that I loved about this movie and the first one was the world building, because it's like a whole new world. But like the way they do it is just they don't spend a lot of time on stuff; they just show you it. So you have like a lot of cool new spaceships and a lot of what was the people called? The gold people at the beginning. The Sovereigns. Like all the alien races, you know. It's like, kind of like they do in the Star Wars, or the original Star Wars, where you just throw in alien races. They don't have to be explained. It's just, there's these people and these people. And that idea that there was like this group of space pirates who kind of have a code, I like that. Like they don't have to go into too much detail, but it's just like, oh, you get the sense that this is a real kind of world here. So I really did like that. I don't know, we talked before, like, we started recording about whether this is more for kids or adults. I think, like, both could enjoy it. It's a 12A, and there's a lot of humour in there, which is
I think a lot of the jokes, like, I mean, you've got David Hasselhoff and Pac-Man and Cheers, and I know, like, when we went...
Oh, yeah, a lot of 80s references.
There was kids there, and it's just like, they're not going to know what a Cheer. They're not going to get the Diane and Cheers reference or anything like that.
It's one of those like Toy Story where there's like jokes for the parents and for the kids.
But there's always that. There's always that with a kids movie. But
there was a lot of stuff with Baby Groot. There was a lot of like really childish humour or slapstick where like anyone would laugh at it.
I feel like
also Drax I thought was hilarious in this film. Like
he had all the best lines. He had all the best lines.
He was really good.
But I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy is like the edgy kind of outsider of the Marvel universe. It's more having fun, and it's like, you know, it's just got a kind of darker stuff in it.
A guy turning into a giant Pac-Man and eating the bad guy.
Yeah,
it's not your general superhero film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about as far removed from like the DC films as you can get. Like, if that's gone too extreme towards the dark side, this is like on the other end of the scale of just hilarity. One of like the negatives I thought of the film was like a little bit too much CG. Obviously, they have to use CG in this kind of space thing, but it was like, I just felt like too much CG in fight sequences, like too much flashing and going on the screen. You couldn't really follow it. And also, I thought towards the end it went on a little bit too long, especially the final fight sequence. It just, I don't know. I just felt it went on a little long.
I didn't have an issue. I thought it was okay. I mean, it did. There wasn't like a huge amount going on. It's like, oh, we're going to meet his dad, and you meet Ego, and then it's just.
Well, that's maybe why they didn't go to like many places. Like in the first one, they were doing a lot of different stuff. This one, it was.
That's the one thing.
One thing, but a long time.
The one thing I didn't like about this one is you didn't see a lot of the universe, even though they did make about 90 jumps or whatever to get to the planet, which was quite funny. That scene where they're all like,
Yeah. One other thing, this is kind of a minor point as well. Sometimes they didn't balance the stories as well as they could. Like there was a part where like Rocket Raccoon just got left. Like you didn't see him for a long stretch of the film, and it was kind of like, I don't know what's happened to him. But there was a couple of times in it where it was like you'd almost forgotten where the other characters were or what they were supposed to be doing, and then they turned up again. But yeah, that was a really minor point. That was just something that kind of niggled me while I was watching it. But yeah, overall, I would definitely recommend this, especially if you're a fan of the first one, because it's more of the same, like the same humour. But the one thing I would say, it's not like they completely just ripped off the first one. It's a completely different story, but it's very much the same tone and the same style, so you're not going to be disappointed if you're hoping for a similar experience, I would say.
Yeah.
I didn't think the soundtrack was quite as strong this time. I did like the ELO and Fleetwood Mac, but not
that's
quite
that's very much your era.
Yeah, not quite as memorable as like the soundtrack in the first movie, I didn't think.
I liked this one better because you've got more of the sense of the team going around, like the Guardians are together and they're a family, and it's got like that kind of hint of like Firefly, and even like Peter Quill is essentially like a slight Han Solo character as well, like the space pirate thing. So I mean, I liked all that. It's very well written as well. It's like really, there's stuff I was genuinely like really belly laughing at.
Oh yeah,
during it. It was so funny, some of it, and like you said, like Drax has some of the best lines.
Yeah, the dialogue's really sharp. And
I think like the bits with like Mantis and Drax are really funny as well. And Rocket's always funny too. And Baby Groot was obviously, you know, some of the interactions he had with other characters. There was some really good lines where they're talking about when it should we kill him or something. He's like, "Don't be ridiculous. He's far too adorable. Take him to the tailor." That's like one of my favourite lines.
That's the thing. It is like really tongue in cheek. Like they know exactly what people's expectations are going in, and they're kind of toying with your, like what you already know about superhero films and how they work. So they don't spend too much time setting stuff up that you probably already know what's going to happen. Yeah. They spend more of it doing jokes and funny scenes or character scenes.
But I feel with this, they didn't focus it on those big action scenes. Like, you're thinking a sequel, they're going to make it bigger and better and more explosions and stuff. And I didn't really feel like they went for that. I felt they went for more about the characters and the emotions.
Oh, like towards the end, they definitely went.
Yeah, but I think like throughout it, with interactions between them all, because you've still got Star-Lord and Gamora, and then you've got Nebula and Gamora.
Oh yeah, and like absolutely. Like when this film finishes, you kind of feel the sense of family that the characters feel, and you feel the connections between them and stuff in a way that a lot of films ignore or don't take enough time to do. Whereas this, you really do feel like, yeah, it's like coming home when you meet this character again. You feel like, oh, I really enjoy spending time with them.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it. And, like, I'd really love to see the third one. It's one of those, like, when you come out, you're like, oh, I can't wait for the next installment. Because you enjoy spending time with
those characters
so much.
Almost like Cheers.
Yeah.
No, I really feel like they sucked everyone in a good way. It was so well written. And although it was a bit choppy, like you're saying, with jumping about, but I think, like, the emotions of it really get you sucked into the story and the characters in this movie.
The same could be said of the first one. I mean, the first one, like, the plot wasn't necessarily that strong. It was the characters that everyone loved.
Yeah, but it was just like this surprise, and now it had the pressure of the second movie.
Yeah.
And with this, I thought like they did it well because they developed these characters, and you got more emotionally involved with them. And I would say, like, I really liked the Yondu was fantastic in it, like, because I was a bit like, why is she in it? Like, yeah, he was really good at it. His performance was really good. So overall, I would totally I mean, if you've seen the first one, you're going to see the second one.
Yeah.
And if you like the music and the kind of space soap opera,
the energy of the films, the energy of the first one carries through.
Yeah, you're going to like the second one. I mean, I was completely entertained throughout it, and I'd look forward to the third one and a fourth, maybe a fifth.
Yeah. Don't push it. Well, that was our review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Thanks for listening. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll be back soon with our episode on Star Wars Rogue One.
And check out our blog as well.
And our new blog at themoonmonkey.blogspot.com.